I woke up at 6 in the morning and saw $120,000 on my phone screen. Yesterday, it was 10,000. I stared at the numbers, couldn't believe it. An hour later, everything collapsed. For years, my life looked fine on paper. I was an accountant at a construction company. $4,500 a month. Health insurance. 2 weeks of vacation. Predictable. Safe. Boring. I had a mortgage, a car loan, regular bills. My wife would always say, "We live within our means, and that's the right way to do it." I nodded. I even agreed with her most of the time. But deep down, it felt like I was missing something. It wasn't about wanting a mansion or a yacht. It was the thought that I was stuck in the same circle: work, paycheck, bills. No excitement. No growth. Just a treadmill I couldn't step off. One day at lunch, a coworker pulled out his phone and showed me an app. "Check this out," he said. It was a crypto trading app. He scrolled through charts, numbers moving up and down. He said he made more money in 1 week there than in a whole month at work. He wasn't joking. His screen showed it. I didn't know what to say. I just stared. That night, I downloaded the same app. Not to trade, just to watch. For 2 weeks, I opened it every morning and every night. Green lines went up. Red lines dropped. Prices jumped, then fell. It felt alive in a way my job never did. I wasn't even risking money yet, but I could feel the pull. Every time I saw a sharp rise, I thought, if I had put in 1,000, that would be 2. Every drop made me wonder, what if I bought right here? How high could it go? My wife never knew. She thought I was scrolling news or sports. I told myself it was harmless curiosity. But that curiosity didn't fade. It grew. Weeks turned into months. I still hadn't traded a single dollar, but I was addicted to the numbers. It was like watching a storm you couldn't turn away from. Almost a year passed like that. A whole year of me pretending to be the same steady husband, the same predictable accountant, all while secretly watching a world where money moved faster than I thought possible. And in my head, one question kept repeating. What if I jumped in? What if I finally took the risk? That question in my head, what if I jumped in, finally broke me. I decided to test it. Not with much. Just 500. It was my year-end bonus, money my wife wouldn't even notice missing. The first week, I made 200. Easiest money of my life. The second week, another 300. I refreshed the app over and over, watching my balance climb. It didn't feel real. Numbers on a screen, yet they belonged to me. I started to see a pattern. Buy when the price dropped. Sell when it bounced back. Simple math. Math I understood better than most people. I told myself, I can do this. I've been working with numbers my whole life. At home, I acted normal. I told my wife the bonus was smaller this year. She nodded, didn't ask for details. She always trusted me with money. That trust made it too easy. Too easy to hide. Too easy to risk more. By the end of the first month, I was up 2,000. Not just my original 500, profit on top of it. 2,000 I had created from nothing but clicks. I couldn't stop thinking about it. At work, while going through invoices, my mind drifted. While driving home, I checked the app at red lights. Every rise made me feel smarter than everyone else. Every fall made me want to time the rebound. I looked at people who left money sitting in a savings account at 3% a year. I felt like I had cracked some hidden code they were too afraid to touch. My wife asked once, "You seem distracted lately. Everything okay?" I said, "Yeah, just work stuff." She didn't push, and I didn't confess. The profits made me cocky. I raised the stakes. Every extra paycheck, every little bonus, straight into the app. Sometimes I mistimed it. Lost 100 here, 200 there. But even then, the recovery felt quick. Like the game always reset, giving me another chance. I stopped seeing it as risk. I saw it as skill. A skill I was sharpening every single day. The numbers on the screen were small compared to what I imagined. If 500 could become 2,000 in a month, what could 5,000 become? 10,000? That thought followed me everywhere. Every time I opened the app, I felt my chest tighten. Not from fear, from hunger. And that hunger was about to push me into deeper waters than I had ever planned. That hunger for more didn't stay inside me for long. I acted on it. What started as 500 grew into 2,000. Then I pushed it to 5. Soon, 10. Every win made the next risk feel smaller. Like the stakes weren't real anymore. But the money was real. And to grow it, I had to pull cash from everywhere I could. I told my wife we needed money for small things. Repairs. Gifts for my parents. Extra expenses here and there. She didn't question it. She believed me. And I used that belief like a shield. Credit cards filled the gaps. One here, another there. She never saw the full picture. Only the excuses I fed her. I felt untouchable. Until the night the market crashed. It started like any other day. I checked the app before dinner. The numbers looked steady. Then, an hour later, everything dropped. Sharp. Sudden. 3,000 gone in less than 60 minutes. My hands shook as I refreshed the screen. Every update showed less than before. I couldn't breathe right. It felt like my chest was caving in. I sold in panic. Hit the button just to stop the bleeding. Then I closed the app. I couldn't look at it again. For 3 days, I avoided it. Phone buzzed in my pocket, but I didn't dare open the app. I went through the motions at work, pretending to be fine. But inside, all I saw was the number dropping. 3,000. Gone. On the third night, I gave in. I opened the app, and the numbers had bounced back. Not just recovered, they were higher than when I panicked. If I had held, I wouldn't have lost a thing. I sat there staring at the screen. Relief mixed with shame. I told myself it was a lesson. Don't panic. Hold the line. Trust the process. I convinced myself the loss was just part of the game. That I was smarter now because of it. I closed the app that night thinking, next time, I'll be ready. Next time, I won't flinch. But the truth was clear, even if I didn't want to admit it. That crash had shown me something I couldn't ignore. One bad move, one wrong click, and everything could disappear. That crash should have scared me straight. But instead, it lit a fire. I kept telling myself, I know the rules now. I've learned my lesson. But the truth? I was itching for a bigger shot. Then it came. A new coin showed up on every forum I read. A startup everyone swore was the next big thing. People called it the new Bitcoin. Screenshots everywhere, balances doubling, tripling, promises of 1,000% growth. I spent nights digging through every post I could find. Every comment said the same thing, don't miss it. This is the one. And I believed them. Or maybe I just wanted to. The thought hit me hard. If I go in small, I'll regret it. If I go in big, I could change everything overnight. So I went in big. I pulled 10,000 together any way I could. Some from a credit card, some from our joint account, some borrowed from a friend, with a story about emergency repairs. I told myself I'd pay it all back in days. That this wasn't debt, just a bridge to something bigger. When I transferred it all into the app, I felt unstoppable. 10,000 wasn't a gamble. It was an investment. That's what I told myself. Before bed, I stared at the numbers glowing on my phone. I whispered, tomorrow, I'll be rich. I imagined walking into work and quitting. I imagined paying off the mortgage early. I imagined my wife finally seeing what I saw, that I wasn't just some guy with a steady paycheck, that I could be more. Lying there in the dark, I wasn't nervous. I was calm, calmer than I had ever been, because I thought I had cracked it. I thought this was my shot. The kind people talk about years later, the one risk that changed everything. I fell asleep with that thought running through me. And for the first time in a long time, I believed tomorrow would be different. I woke up before my alarm. It was still dark outside. First thing I did was grab my phone, open the app, and froze. 120,000. From 10. Overnight. I thought it was a glitch. Refreshed the screen 3 times. Same number. My hands were shaking. I laughed out loud, sitting there in bed. I couldn't believe it. In one night, my whole life had changed. I walked around the kitchen like a man who'd just won the lottery. Poured coffee, but forgot to drink it. Kept staring at the screen. Every plan I'd ever dreamed of played out in my head. No more mortgage. No more debt. Vacations we never took. Freedom from everything that felt heavy. For 1 hour, I was on top of the world. Untouchable. Then the selling started. At first, I didn't think much of it. A small dip. Normal. But the red numbers kept stacking. 120 dropped to 90. 90 to 80. I told myself, don't panic. It'll bounce. Just hold. I remembered the lesson from before, don't sell in fear. So I held. But it didn't bounce. 80 turned to 60. 60 to 40. I just stared, frozen, while the screen bled. My stomach was twisted, but I kept repeating the same line, it'll recover. It has to. By mid-afternoon, it was down to 10. By evening, 3,000. From 120. I couldn't process it. The number felt like a joke. Like the app was mocking me. I sat at the table with my phone in my hand, unable to move. I thought of the credit card, the joint account, the money I owed my friend. Gone. All gone in a single day. The high from the morning still echoed in my head. The joy, the rush. And now it was replaced by a silence so heavy I could barely breathe. I had chased the dream. I had caught it, and then watched it vanish right through my fingers. By the time the numbers stopped moving, I was left with 3,000. I stared at the screen like it would change if I waited long enough. It didn't. 7,000 of my own savings, gone. A credit card almost maxed. A loan from my friend waiting to be paid back. The total damage hit me like a weight, 15,000. I sat in the kitchen that night, the house dark, only the fridge humming behind me. The numbers wouldn't leave my head. I knew it wasn't just the loss, it was the debt. Money I didn't have. Money I'd have to explain. Soon the statements would arrive. Soon the phone would ring. Soon my wife would see everything I had hidden. For 3 days, I tried to build a way out. I opened the app again and again, looking for something to fix it. A rebound, a miracle coin, anything that would make the numbers grow back. But nothing looked strong enough. I started searching for loans online. Second credit card, maybe a personal line. Ran the numbers in my head. No matter how I stretched it, the math didn't work. Every scenario ended the same way. I was cornered. At work, I couldn't focus. The spreadsheets blurred, invoices piled up. I kept checking my phone under the desk. Not because I expected good news, but because I couldn't stop. At home, I was quiet. Too quiet. My wife asked if I was tired. I nodded. I didn't have the strength to come up with another lie. The guilt built like pressure in my chest. I thought about selling my car. I thought about asking for an advance at work. I thought about disappearing into another risky bet just to win it back. But deep down, I knew the truth. I had burned through the trust, the savings, the safety net. I was in a hole I couldn't climb out of on my own. There was only one way left. Tell her. Face it. The thought made my stomach twist. The fight I imagined, the yelling, the anger, maybe worse. The look on her face when she realized who I had become. I rehearsed the words in my head. Started, stopped, changed the order. Every version felt wrong, but I knew it didn't matter how I said it. What mattered was that I had to. And that night, I made the decision. No more hiding. No more lies. Tomorrow, I would sit her down and tell her everything. The next evening, I sat at the kitchen table. Phone face down. Hands locked together so they wouldn't shake. I had gone over the speech in my head 100 times. None of it sounded right. But I couldn't stall anymore. When she walked in from work, I asked her to sit down. She looked at me like she already knew something was wrong. I started talking. Slow at first. About the app. About how I had watched it for months before putting in money. Then about the first win. The small lies. The bigger bets. The words felt heavy in my mouth. Every sentence made me smaller in front of her. I told her about the credit card. The money I had taken from our account. The loan from my friend. I told her about the rise. The 120,000 I thought was real. And the crash that left me with 3. I laid it all out. Every number. Every mistake. I expected her to explode. To cry. To yell. To demand answers. I braced myself for it. But she didn't. She just sat there. Hands folded in her lap. Face still. Silent. The kind of silence that made my skin crawl. Because it wasn't confusion. It wasn't shock. It was something else. I kept talking, hoping to break it. Told her I knew I had ruined everything. That I was ready for whatever came next. Anger, divorce, anything. But she stayed quiet. Her eyes on me the whole time. Not blinking. It scared me more than if she had screamed. When I finally ran out of words, the silence pressed harder. I waited for her to speak, for the storm to hit. Instead, she just sat there. Calm. Too calm. And I realized I wasn't ready for whatever she was about to say. When the silence finally broke, it wasn't what I expected. She looked at me and said, I know. 2 words. Flat. Steady. At first, I didn't understand. I asked, what do you mean, you know? She said she had known everything from the beginning. The transfers. The missing money. The excuses that didn't line up. She saw the notifications on my phone. The bank statements in the email. Every time I thought I was clever, hiding one more lie, she was already ahead of me. My chest tightened. I thought she'd call me a fool. That she'd tell me I had destroyed us. But she didn't. She pulled her tablet from her bag, placed it on the table, and opened a portfolio app. Numbers filled the screen. Steady numbers. Clean, even lines. She told me while I was chasing quick wins, she had been putting her paycheck into index funds. Month after month. Slow, boring, consistent. And in 1 year, her account had grown to $19,500. I couldn't speak. It felt like my throat closed. She explained it without emotion. How she didn't need drama or adrenaline or the next big thing. She just needed time and patience. While I was risking our future in secret, she was quietly building one in plain sight. I stared at the tablet, scrolling through her portfolio. No crazy spikes. No sudden crashes. Just steady growth. She said, "You thought I wasn't paying attention. You thought I couldn't earn." I couldn't argue. Because she was right. For months, I thought I was smarter than everyone else. That I was playing a game only I understood. But sitting across from her, I saw the truth. She had beaten me without even trying. 19,500. Real money. Safe. Growing. Not a fantasy on a screen. Not a high followed by a crash. Just results. The kind I had been too blind to respect. I sat there staring at her tablet. The numbers on her screen looked nothing like mine. No wild swings. No sharp crashes. Just steady growth, moving up like a calm tide. 19,500. Every dollar earned the slow way. The right way? She turned the screen toward me. "While you were chasing highs, I was building this," she said. I didn't answer. I couldn't. The truth sat heavy in front of me. I thought I was clever. Thought I had spotted shortcuts no one else could see. But all I had done was burn through money we couldn't afford to lose. She asked, "Did you really think I couldn't handle money?" I didn't know how to respond. Because I had. I thought I was the one who understood numbers, who knew how to make them work. But looking at her portfolio, I saw how wrong I was. The irony cut deep. While I had been lying, hiding trades, moving money in the dark, she had been open, methodical, consistent. Now her account was the only reason we weren't drowning. Her savings were going to cover my mistakes. I watched as she calmly showed me the breakdown. Month by month. Contribution by contribution. Growth that never felt exciting in the moment, but added up to something real. And then she told me the part that hit the hardest. From now on, she would handle all of our investments. Every dollar. Every decision. I didn't argue. I couldn't. She had earned that control. I had lost the right to it. The plan was simple. Her portfolio would help cover my debts. Piece by piece, we'd dig out of the hole I had made. Not quickly, not easily, but steadily. I looked at her, then back at the screen. I thought about the rush I had felt watching my account jump from 10 to 120,000 in a single night. That rush had lasted 1 hour. Her chart had taken a year to build, and it was still standing. That night, I stopped fighting. Stopped pretending I was the smart one. Stopped chasing what wasn't real. I let her take the lead. And for the first time, I understood what patience really looked like. Now, she controls the money. I follow her rules. And I sit with the weight of my mistakes, learning how to wait. Slowly, quietly, the way she always had. Thanks for listening to the story till the end. Write in the comments what you think about all this. Subscribe. More untold stories are on the way.